Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at something very exciting. This right here is the entry grade RX-78-2 Gundam, and you might be thinking, well, Bandai have released so many RX-78-2s in the last year, why should I care? Well, this kit right here is Gundarium tier, and will only cost $5. Well, not this exact one right here, but the full release white version coming out next month, which is the exact same kit in the classic colors. That's the one that will cost $5. This one right here you can't get anymore, except if you enter that giveaway I'm about to talk about very soon. Anyway, as always, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan. So if you want some gunpla of your own, there's a link down there in the description, as well as 5% off. Now here we go. So this right here is the round box with gunpla version of the entry grade RX-78-2. Once again, the standard full release version of the RX-78-2 entry grade will be out next month. These are two limited edition kind of gift versions, and what we've got here is one which is the Christmas variant in a nice red and green Christmassy color scheme. And as for the other box I have right here, this is the classic RX-78-2 color, just in a metallic pearl finish. These are some incredibly fun little boxes. So we've got an outer wrap first with a little hoop on top that makes me think you may have been able to catch these out of a crane machine. And underneath, we've got one premium feeling box. So this is all on a kind of matte yet glossy kind of plastic. And honestly, this is really cool. On popping the lid off, and I mean pop the lid off, it's very easy to remove. There's two little bits you can pull. Don't do what I did and rip it off like some kind of gorilla, because if it seems hard to remove the top, you're probably doing something wrong, like I was. Inside of the box then we get the entry grade Gundam itself, as well as 2 packs of Gundam themed snacks. These packets feature very cool Gundam iconography, which is the Federation and Zeon together at last. Maybe this is some kind of ceasefire over their mutual love of corn snacks. And as for the flavor, these are what is known as corn potaji flavor. So this is a kind of Japanese buttery corn soup flavor. So this really is a love or hate flavor. I've never met someone who's like somewhere in the middle. For example, I really like it. Whereas basically, to sum up what my wife's reaction to these was revolting and stinking out the entire room. But yeah, if you want to try them yourself, I am giving away the metallic version. So if you do want to win this limited edition entry grade Gundam of yourself, as well as those sketchy corn snacks, just drop a comment down there right now saying that you want it, and if you could have any gunpla in the world for Christmas, what would it be? So as for the build of this kit, it is incredibly simple but incredibly smart at the same time. This is very akin to Bandai's fine build system we would have seen with the Leo, or the Death Army, or like the 30-minute missions kits. That means it is laid out on the runner very simple and very intelligently. So all the parts of the head are together, all the parts of the torso are together, etc. Super simple to build, even for beginners. And all I can say is Bandai better make a Zaku of this, because it will be the best, cheapest Zaku army builder ever. Seriously, holding out for a Zaku version. The build here is fast, simple, yet mind-blowing. It still blows me away that for $5, this is a kit with no polycaps and no stickers. It's an entirely plastic build that's both solid and beautiful. What Bandai has done here is pure witchcraft. They've boiled a model kit down to its basic elements while keeping it color accurate and sacrificing absolutely nothing. Just look at the head. There is no stickers, just sharp details and contrast created with physical depth. I can't even. I threw this kit together with single nipper snips and no cleanup at all. So even if you are a beginner or build this incredibly quickly with limited tools, the nubs are still minimal, and on the standard classic white version will be even harder to see. Once again, this kit is a technical marvel at this price point. Seriously, the V on the crotch is even color accurate. Only the Beyond Global version, that's almost 4 times the price of this, has had that degree of color accuracy. And that kit still needs stickers for the eyes. I can't. This kit's awesome. There may be some minor seam lines in the front of the legs, but once again, these aren't that noticeable. But what is awesome is there's no seam line up the side of the head, just a very easy to clean up mold line. I've said it once and I'll say it again, this kit is beyond awesome. Anyway, off with the safety knobs on the V-fin, throw on a few panel lines, give it a healthy dose of some Mr. Super Clear Flat, and this thing looks like $1,000,000. Hard to believe, it just costs $5. So anyway, there is that full 360-degree spin of this absolute budget masterpiece in action. Because this thing looks so good and feels so good, I had to do a couple of poses as well for this segment. The RX-78-2 has never looked better. The angles on this are so good. They're sharp, old school, and cool. Once again, I will mention that the only real down point to me with this kit is that large seam in the front of the leg armor, but besides that, this thing is incredible. Color separation off the charts, it's solid as a rock, no polycaps, no stickers, and it looks iconic. The looks aren't the only thing this has compared to the other high grades on the market. This has some extra features I did not expect it would have, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but speaking of those other high grade RX-78-2s, time for a bit of a comparison. So there it is side by side with the revived version, which until this point was one of Bandai's points of entry into the hobby. It was cheap, it's a good kit, and it is the classic RX-78-2. However, compared to the entry grade, this thing looks very, very dated. It's got a soft plastic that kind of feels a little bit on the rubbery side. It has a sticker on the crotch and the eyes. And in general, it's a kit with absolutely no premium features whatsoever, whereas the entry grade throws in a lot of features we only see on higher end or more premium high grades, and it's not even a high grade. It does lack a lot of the beveling that we would have seen on the revived version, but to me, that's a plus. I love the sharp angles. Next up, there it is side by side with the Origin version. I don't have a standard version of the Origin anymore because I love the kit so much I customized it, well, twice. I don't think that one counts. I don't think a big head and a beam saber, don't ask, count as customizing per se, but this kit may not pack in the amount of detail this kit has, but it is the classic 1979 version, not the more modern version like these guys are. And finally, there it is side by side with the Beyond Global version, the only other high grade variant, not that this is a high grade, but well, it feels like a premium high grade, with that little V section in its crotch, color accurate. So this is more of a premium, almost stylistically and artistically different version of the RX-78, which is, quite frankly, super awesome, but if you like classic and, well, cheap, you can't go wrong with this guy. So now moving on into the accessories, and here is the entry grade RX-78-2 with absolutely everything that it comes with. So this kit comes with the standard Federation mobile suit loadout, which is the beam sabers, a shield, and a beam rifle. Now you might have noticed something seems a little bit off here. Something about the beam sabers, and no, it's not the fact that I forgot to panline part of that one there on the right, it's the fact that this is another kit that's missing the beams for some reason. Sure, this isn't really the biggest issue ever because anyone who's got even a small gunpla collection will have a couple of beams lying around spare, but this is aimed at beginners, and if you've got no other gunpla, you've got no spare beams. Honestly, I do think this is a little bit lame. It does seem to be the case as well for the standard full release of the entry grade Gundam, so I have to admit that is a disappointment. Would it really have added so much cost to the kit to throw in a couple of beams? Maybe it would have, but once again, if you're thinking beginners, they won't have them lying around. This is definitely a little bit of a disappointment. So yeah, it seems the only point of the beam handles in this kit is to pop them up on the backpack like this, and I guess there they will stay. Next up in here, and not really requiring any additional not included extras, is the beam rifle. Well, besides the fact that you will have to color the lens section on there yellow with the classic version, or probably that kind of green with this version. Either way, this is made out of 3 different parts. That is both sides of the body of the beam rifle, and this moving side up top right here. This just attaches into the hand like this. There are no extra hands included in here, just the standard holding ones you're seeing right now. That's what the rifle looks like equipped, and it does exactly what you'd expect a beam rifle would do. It's very nice looking too. Once again, this has been top coated and panel lined. Next up in here is the shield. Once again, very nicely color accurate for such an inexpensive kit. Also, I love this color combination. The matte top coat did mute a lot of the colors and made them even nicer, in my opinion. But even still, this is one very nice shield. It is just the same color as the front round back, which is not to be unexpected with a high grade kit. Once again, this isn't a high grade. And the only thing in grey round back is this handle. When not in use, it can be attached onto the backpack with that peg you're seeing right now, just on like so. Simple as that right here. This is a shield with a whole lot of thickness inside of there, so that is pretty cool, and it stands out from the back very, very nicely. So there are no adapters for the arm included in here. It's just a straight peg to arm connection, so that means it can only be attached onto the side of the arm, not round back. Here you have the choice of just attaching it into the peg hole, just like on the backpack. That holds in solid. Actually, this whole kit is super, super solid. The other option we have in here then is the handle that just slides out like this, like we saw on the Beyond Global, I think. Slides back in like that, attaches into the hand like this, and then pops into the hole like that. So this is an extremely, extremely secure connection. So finally, on to the articulation. When it comes to beginner kits, you don't really expect too much when it comes to articulation. But then again, I don't expect much aesthetically either, and this has impressed with both aesthetics and the feel and look of its build. But how does it pose? And all I can say is, pretty damn well. Now let's start from the head down. So the neck joint in here is a typical double ball joint, but this is not a polycap as there is no polycaps in this kit, so it does not feel spongy at all, but we get that giggity, giggity, giggity go. There is plenty of articulation here. There's him looking all the way up, looking all the way down. From the back, this joint is not the prettiest. There is a bit of a hollow point, but who's going to be looking at that? You could probably already guess from the top of that shoulder, we've got one hell of a lift right here. Just look at that. And that's only the shoulder joint. We've got some more in here so it can lift its arm directly, and I mean directly up into the air. Damn, Zeong better beware. So there's a quick look into the joint. Once again, this is very similar to the Beyond Global, I think. The shoulder armor does not move independently. We have that full 360-degree spin, full rotation at that upper arm. The elbow joint is just a single point bend, but what we get out of that is still very, very good. And the wrist joint there is just your standard ball joint that does what a ball joint does. So usually old school Gundams like this don't get much of an ab crunch, but that is not the case here. Look at that. There's all the way to the front. Then there we go all the way to the back. And that is ridiculously impressive. I'll pop them off so you can see what's going on in there. It is a ball joint facing forward, and it's so simple, but so effective. That also means we do get the side to side pivot there, which is, again, ridiculously impressive. And finally then we've got that rotation all the way around. Not just that, we also have this really nice natural rotation here that is above this standard waist joint. Pretty cool. As for the front skirting armor, it just flips up like this. This is not a ball joint. It is more of a kind of cylindrical joint. These were both joined on the runner, but I did separate them by just snipping them down the middle. The side skirting is just a traditional ball joint, so this doesn't do a whole lot. Just swing forward, back, and give us a little bit of up and down. But hey, that's not so bad. Standard paralyzed butt flap that does not do anything. As for inside of the waist, it is a ball and socket joint, which is very, very old school and basic, but it is designed quite well. The kick up to the front is definitely decent. Paralyzed butt flap means nothing to the back, sadly, just a little bit. And of course, the worst part about ball and socket hips is the fact that legs usually can't kick out very far, but this isn't necessarily the case with this kit. That is brilliant for a ball and socket waist. These have been designed very well to allow for that outward movement. We do have a bit of a lip at the front of the armor there, so that means you don't get the full 360 spin here, you just get from there all the way to there, but that is still perfect. If you kick the leg out all the way, you will get it to go all the way around. Next up then, we have a 2-point bend at the knee from there to there. Once again, absolutely fantastic. Some hollow parts in there, but once again, not the worst at this price point. The ankle is super simple and intelligent. We've got a hinge joint, which allows it to move up and down like so. The armor on the ankle here is pretty much affixed in position. It can pivot ever so slightly, but nothing really worth mentioning. Lastly then, we've got this fantastic joint which allows the foot to kick forward like this. I think this was in the origin version of the high grade, so this kit has inherited a lot of cool aspects from all the kits that have been released in the last year or so. So once again, I have to say, for a kit so cheap and something that's not even a high grade, the articulation on this is spectacular. It does so much with so little. Once again, my mind is blown. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and because there isn't really any other kit like this, no other entry grade kits that are like this RX-78-2, I'm gonna rank this as if it was a high grade, because in every aspect but name, this is a high grade, and a damn good one at that. Even if this was called a high grade, I would have given this Gundarium tier. This kit is phenomenal. At 550 yen, this thing is such a steal. There is no polycaps, there are no stickers, it looks fantastic, the articulation's great, the build is as solid as a rock, and the only two negative aspects I can say is there's some seams in the front of the legs, and there is no beams for using with the beam sabers, but besides that, this thing is ridiculously good. So if you've got your eyes set on getting yourself an entry grade Gundam, I say go for it. Once again, I am giving away one of these that is the classic color in metallic pearl. Just drop a comment down there in the comments saying that you want to be involved, and also let me know if you could get any kit that you wanted for Christmas, what would it be? Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jury, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for asymmetric cats.